Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. I'm living into 9th of Rabi'ul Akhir 1442. Today is 25th of November 2020 and still in the midst of the CMCO of COVID-19. Nonetheless, I thank you, YouTube, and the YouTube team, relentlessly providing us an ever improving platform in sharing knowledge. Whoever who need it, and to whoever who wants to share it. And this is an amazing platform. Thank you, all my channel's subscribers and viewers, and I am honored to be here before you to share a bit of my experience, which is not much though in the inventory, and we hope that we all would benefit from all this. Now, I am continuing my effort in sharing you a particular part, a particular stage in our endeavor in establishing what is called ISO 14001 version 2015 of the internationally recognized environmental management system. Now, one of the most important process is to accurately identify our environmental aspects which are involved in our organization, in our activities, in our processes, and in our products and services. So this is what we are trying to share with you. The stage, or we call it the process of identifying environmental aspects by virtue of doing input-output analysis of the process, and then from there we are able to identify or have a list of all the environmental aspects that we have, and then from there we pursue into establishing what is called aspects impact register in format that is suitable for anyone. I just give one example of what has been what has proven to be well, most accurate to me and my associates. Okay, and if you have already a trainer in consultant, please follow their advice. Please discuss with them from the knowledge that you have acquired, perhaps have well, you can say acquired from this short video. Okay, so let's take a look at yeah, before that, please do not watch my video if you are in any mosque for the Friday prayers, or perhaps attending religious lessons, and it applies to all other faith as well. Thank you very much for that cooperation. Okay, now what else? Yeah, okay, let's continue with what we're going to do. This is the picture that I have shown before in a video titled How She or SHE manage sandblasting. Now we go, we try to pick from that picture again. We use that picture again and try to pick out all the environmental aspects which are deemed prominent from this particular process. Now remember, back to the basic definition of environmental management system. Remember, environmental management as per ISO 14001 version 2015 states that environmental management system manages environmental aspects by fulfilling compliance obligation, and addressing risk and opportunity. Got it? Now, it's our job. First, manage environmental aspects. In order to manage environmental aspects, we got to identify what are the environmental aspects related or involved in our activity. Here you are. How to do it? The way we do it, and so far it has been powerfully accurate, not to say the most accurate, uh, because this methodology is actually a somewhat derived from mechanical engineering, where they got to do mass balance. Okay, I believe that that is how this methodology originated from. Okay, let's take a look. First of all, we have got to do what is called the input-output analysis of our process, of our activity. Okay, and input analysis, output analysis means we got to identify all the input environmental aspect. So, what is environmental aspect? Environmental aspect is anything that interact or can interact with the environment, that interacts or can interact with the environment. How it interacts, we have seen the earlier videos on what I call environmental aspects definition, the life cycle perspective, ISO 14001 version 2015 life cycle perspective. I have published that video earlier than all this. Please click to my channel and browse through. You will see LCA of or life cycle, LCP, life cycle perspective for ISO 14001. Okay, then hopefully that would help you. Now, whenever from that understanding, if an aspect is an input, it would interact with the environment upstream. Okay, and then we are able to determine its associated environmental impact. So if an environmental aspect is an input on environmental aspect, what is its associated environmental impact is to look at the upstream of its life cycle perspective. Okay, so in this case, for example, the other part is when the environmental aspect is an output environmental aspect. In order for us to determine its associated environmental impact is to look at the downstream of its life cycle. Simple as that. So I have arranged environmental aspect, environmental impact for input, and environmental aspect and environmental impact for output aspect. Okay, just to make it simple so that we don't go wrong when we determine or when we determine their respective associated environmental impact. So for the blasting system over here, this is an example. The entire blasting system, it is comprising of more than one type of materials or matter or product or gadget or equipment that make up the entire system, all of which interact with the environment when they were being produced from eventually raw materials that comes from natural resources, because they are brand new input, remember, and that would cause a state of environmental impact called resource depletion. I don't have to repeat this because what is resource depletion, you know what it is by now. On the other end, when the blasting is ongoing, perhaps some of its parts gets kaput, okay, and it will be replaced. So those damaged parts or defected parts is being removed from the system, and it may be, or usually it is being sent to some disposal premises, and would cause at least soil contamination. Okay, it could be the hose, it could be the tubes that cannot be reused. Okay, on the other hand, I have something for you here. Yeah, let's take a look at this suspended platform. The suspended platform is made from, yeah, mostly metal. Even it has got what they call what it's not, well, it's a rope. Probably a rope is made of petrochemical as well, and it's got some metal platform. All these are equipment that make up the suspended platform, including a motor, a winch, or system, and all this. And they are made from natural resources. Okay, and in the making of those equipment, it interacts with the environment. The matters, the material, substance interact with the environment, and all these environmental aspects interact with the environment and causes what is called at its upstream resource depletion. Okay, and there is an equipment which is a broken winch. The winch is absolute metal the way we look at it, except that it contains some form of synthetic rubber, like seal and all this, and the rest are a good metal. Okay, when it gets broken, from our interview during the audit, and what the subcontractor was saying, that they would send it for refurbishing. It's just what they call some form of parts that they are able to change on and even modify. An innovative effort they put in. Is all about common sense, and they are able to reuse the winch again for the next project, and that for me is good for the environment. And when that winch is being refurbished, the demand for new winch would be slower, and would be a good sign for the environment, because we are able to conserve some resources. So that is probably, okay, some of the environmental aspects. And maybe you have seen this does as a lot of this so-called the shots of garnet and used garnet here that come out of the system. Garnet is from the input, garnet is from natural resources, thereby causing an environmental impact called resource depletion. The used garnet is being shot at this column and produces all this dust, and those garnet were not captured or recaptured, and it falls onto the marine water, and thereby we dive down and we saw some form of marine contamination. The benthos species is being affected. Okay, and we even in some parts of the sand we see garnet is actually embedded for some time, but then after a while, years later, it was not there, but it has changed. Some substantial growth of benthos. Now, I am going to show you immediately after this the aspects impact register. Now, let me warn you, this is just an optional alternative knowledge for you. Okay, for all of us. Please listen to your consultant, please listen to your trainer, please discuss with them. They may have given you some simpler, shorter, or more accurate, yeah, type of aspects impact register. Please stick to that. Okay, this video is just giving you what I have acquired personally after I was trained about environmental aspects by my supervisor in Bremen, Mr. Herr Manfred Born was my supervisor. He drilled me in environmental aspects, and it was with his input of the knowledge that I am, when I come back to Malaysia and start doing my audit, start doing my studies on all this, eventually I come up with this, because this is based on my experience in the real world of environmental management. And I decided to make it detailed. I decided to put in more details to ensure that the environmental management has the due diligence, not just document, not just paper, not just getting certification. I got to be honest with the knowledge that Herr Manfred Born from Ecolo und Technologie of I remember it was Waldestrasse, Bremen. Okay, and I got to be honest with the knowledge, and and when it is being used through experience, normally you get what you achieve, and thereby this environmental management system is for practical use. This is the administrative part. But whatever we find here and whatever we want to do can be determined from this sort of evaluations and also register. And top management can view this entire, I call it dashboard, and pick and choose what you want to achieve. That is why ISO 14001 mentioned the word intended outcome. What do you want to achieve? And how you want to go about doing it is our objectives, and they call it planning actions to achieve now. Okay, and how to achieve it, then you have all the program, all the planning actions and procedures. Okay, so that is a very important thing for us to understand. So again, I remind you, please consult your trader and consultant, and if you are comfortable with that, stick to it. Okay, and now let's take a look. This is the format of aspects register, which is comfortable for me. We tested this more than we have tested this formats and this evaluation criteria. See, all these are criteria: magnitude, severities, legal, okay, business. These are evaluation criteria that we use to what they call determine the level of significance of environmental aspect by adopting the score sheet. All right, and please remember, when we do an aspects impact register, please start with our activity first, and then based on the input-output analysis, we are able to list down all our environmental aspects. So input aspects, output aspects are all combined in one list, okay, in one column in fact, and their associated environmental impact is here. So since we have done a good input-output analysis, we won't go wrong here associating the aspect with its respective environmental impact. Use garnet, there you are. Used, definitely this is output. Broken winch, it is output. Blasting system, this is input. Okay, so forget about the figures here. I don't have to look at all this. These are all from previous work. So important thing is we need to have evaluation criteria. This is where I put the effort I put in a bit of detailed work. You wouldn't like to know how I do it. If you are those if you do not have, I'm not saying that you do not have, but you know, environment is something that we take for granted. We don't feel it. We only feel it when we get flash flood, extreme heat, no more snow in the Arctic, for example, or we find that materials are getting expensive, or resources are getting scarce and expensive. Then we start to talk about environment. But if you are in your comfort zone, you don't feel about the environment. Go around and take a look at those mining areas. Take a look how much damage has it done to the earth's surface, because not because of them, we don't blame them, blame ourselves, because we demand too much for natural resources and we do not know how to reuse, recycle, recover. All we know is dump, dump, dump. And the environment takes its toll. The earth's surface becomes more unstable and you get more earthquake than ever, and suddenly the plates is loose, and etc, etc. So for that reason, air pollution, water pollution, marine pollution, soil pollution, groundwater pollution happens, and for that reason I put in a little bit more effort in detailing the criteria so that we are able to address these environmental aspects in more systematic way and hopefully more accurate. I'm not saying this is the most accurate. We only tested it with 17 different types of industries and it didn't went wrong. Sometimes when we choose a simpler evaluation technique, eventually we found that from my audit experience, aspects which are supposed to be highly significant become insignificant by the end of that score. Why? Because we evaluated them lightly using some form of statistical evaluation with no environmental intrinsic value in each evaluation criteria. It's just about maths. It's just about statistics, but the criteria didn't look into the real environment per se. So eventually we found that, hey, this is supposed to be significant aspect. How come from your evaluation it becomes insignificant? What happens next? Those aspects which is supposed to be significant were not part of their priority. What happened is being left out. They didn't do anything wrong. It's just that the evaluation showed that those aspects were insignificant. But when they come for surveillance audits, 14,001, some auditors would be able to capture that. So it's redundant work for your ISO 14,001, which is not good. So, okay, from this format, I'm just sharing my experience. Okay, and before I pass, I rather let human know about this, that there is a way, and if we put in more serious effort into it, we'll get it. Now, there's a risk for a blasting system here. This aspect there, uneven or thinning of column, is a risk. And they propose to review the blasting technique. So therefore, this is what they want to do now. Opportunity. Another thing here is about the used garnet. Apparently, they know that the used garnet is harmful to the aquatic lives. So, what they want to do, their intended outcome is to seek eco-friendly alternative material. This is on top of their existing environmental SOP, or this can be used to devise, to develop, to establish their environmental operational procedure to control what all these aspects where in this particular activity, what activity it is, sand blasting. So they need to have SOP that would govern blasting system, govern the use of garnet. Maybe there's a purchase order, or govern the what happens to broken wrench. Okay, and maybe all these are called operational control, operational procedures. And what they want to do is in the intended outcome is based from the opportunities and the risk, and that will become eventually their objectives and action plans. Next part of their EMS phase. So this is the best I could do, okay, to share with you what we have for the aspects impact register, the input output analysis. Hopefully we are able to do another example in the next video. YouTube, thank you very much. Subscribers, viewers, thank you very much for your time, for your attention. So until we meet in the next video, for now I wish everybody in bahasa Melayu semoga dikurniakan kesenangan, keselamatan, kesejahteraan, kebahagiaan dan kejayaan kehidupan di dunia dan di akhirat. So for now, all the best to everyone. Lots of love. Stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.